Photography and videography aren't about megapixels and dynamic range. It's about sharing and capturing moments with wildlife in the remote, harsh, frozen worlds as they struggle to survive each day. It's about telling a story, and this is Joshua Halku's story.
You know, one of the things about coming out here to a remote location like this and being able to live with the wildlife and experience what the wildlife experiences and try and capture that in some of the photographs that we're doing, that's powerful. That's where the emotion is, and that's what makes a great photograph. Emotive photography for me is at the heart of what I do. I've always found in my own photography that the photographs that do the best for me are the ones that always generate the strongest emotional response in the viewer. And that emotional response is the key, really, to strong wildlife photography. People want to come away and say, this is the story of this survivor that lives out in this very hostile environment. And I think people's minds shifts away from just capturing images to being storytellers. And I think photographers and photography is at its best when we're storytellers.
This is a solitary calling. Preparing for it isn't just physical, it's mental. Bracing for minus 40 degrees and the kind of winds that break both gear and will.
The sort of people who are going to come on a trip like this are those who want to make emotive photographs. They want to be able to put a photograph out in the world that's going to tug on people's heartstrings and make them feel something. So when we're out here photographing in the field, what I'm trying to do all the time is to get people in a position where they can capture photographs that speak to the story of the fox and what it's like to be up here in a nature reserve, where you're isolated from people and no one is here.
There's no tapping out. It's a rugged, mountainous, harsh environment, without a single soul in sight. Temperatures dropping down to minus 38, you're on your own.
There's a solitude to the landscape up here, and there's a very deep resonance that resonates with everybody who comes here, and they feel it in their body, and they feel more relaxed, and they enjoy the landscape and the feeling of being in such a remote location, but being able to be inside at night by a fireplace and be warm. So it's a very special place. You know, when you come here for the first time, you're like, wow, what are these animals eating? Because I can't see any food. You know, and they're opportunists, so they're scavenging on the beach all the time. They're looking for food, they're looking for what they can get. So they're taking mussels, they're taking shellfish, something washes ashore. And that's also part of the story. Every single fox has a unique personality up here, and that's what's wonderful. There are no two individuals that are the same or act the same. So you never know how a fox is going to behave when you first see it. Sometimes a fox can just take off and run. Other times they get very curious and they allow us to get very close. The Arctic fox is circumpolar. It's not a protected species. They are hunted across the rest of Iceland. They're only protected here inside the nature reserve, but yet they manage to still thrive throughout Iceland. So I think they are an incredible feat of engineering. And that's because of its ability to survive and adapt. Its ability to not only deal with the amazing cold that we have up here, but to find food where there is none, to be able to find a mate, to be able to reproduce up here. The tail, for example, is a huge part of the fox. It's almost as big as an Arctic fox. So it will sit on its tail to stay warm. It will use it to protect itself from the wind. And it will snuggle its nose into it, you know, at night when it's cold. One of the things I like to teach when I'm in the field is don't think too much about the technical aspect of what we're doing. As long as your exposure is good, the rest of the equation is composition. I think people love the feeling that they can go out in the field and be an artist, and they don't have to be a technician. That gives them an opportunity not only to, of course, make great photographs, but also to appreciate and enjoy what's in front of them and to apply their own creativity to the scene. I think that is a very important aspect of what we do here, is the ability to be free and the ability for everybody to be at that same level. and everyone's input is valued in terms of view of what they see and what they create. This isn't just a place where you come and take photographs of Arctic fox. This is a place where you come and grow your photography and you empower your images with emotion, with drama, with passion. And that means that we're creating a much more powerful photograph. And that means when someone puts it out there in the world, they're going to get a much better result as well. My hope is that people will come away from a trip like this, not only with great photographs, because the story up here is special, and this is an incredible part of Iceland to visit, but also I want them to come away with an emotional experience they're going to hang on to for the rest of their lives.
I live in a cold climate. I understand the struggle, and life is tough at times. But when I see Josh tell his story about this Arctic fox, my problems don't seem so bad. I imagine being tossed out into the cold, minus 40 degrees cold, with nothing more than my choice of clothing and boots. No job, no grocery store, and no civilization. The Arctic fox is truly a remarkable creature. And prior to watching this short film by Christopher Nems, I never really gave any consideration to what it was like to live in the Arctic or Arctic-like conditions as an Arctic fox. I truly felt like what it was like to live as an Arctic fox in cold, inhospitable climates where no one's got your back, where there's no guarantee of a next meal. The work done by Joshua Halku and Christopher Nems reinforces the importance of telling a story, capturing the emotion and the intensity of the moment. And while we're not an Arctic fox, how can we not feel what this fox is enduring? I've got a link to Joshua's video in the description down below. But there's one thing I want to pull out of that video, and it's not just storytelling. You see, when we get out there and we start shooting with whatever impressive lens and camera gear we have, or lack thereof, we always focus on the technical aspects. Joshua says, other than exposure, focus on framing and composition, telling the story. Don't worry about the technical aspects, because no one's ever looked at a piece of work, a piece of art, and said, wow, that's technically impressive. I can feel it's funny, right now as I'm talking, I've got shivers going down my back, and there was just another right down my left side here. I can feel the shivers as I think of the cold Arctic air, the Arctic fox, hunkered down, waiting for a moment to strike, to go out to hunt, to get some food, even if it's just scavenging along the beach. What a life that must be. For many of us today, we're facing a lot of challenges, and if we have families, it's compounded because we're not just trying to look after ourselves, but our families. I couldn't imagine being just given a really warm pair of boots and clothing and then being sent out in the Arctic and say, off you go, figure it out for yourself. The fox, the Arctic fox, is a solitary creature. He doesn't hunt in packs like other canines. I can't imagine. Anyhow, thank you so much for tuning in. Have yourself a great day, and we'll see you again soon.